Evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are when you see this video. Thank you for joining me, Dorothea, on Through an Orthodox Christian Lens. It's still September 30, 2025, but it's really late. I'm just getting this video in. It's going to go out tomorrow on October 1st. Need to get you caught up on what's going on with the Orthodox Church worldwide, the persecutions. So we're going to start with the first story that came out on the 19th. This particular story I'm going to show you. The first one came out on the 19th of September. Greek hierarchs protest against silencing UOC persecution. The Greek Orthodox Resource received hundreds of protest letters following the article about the persecution of Metropolitan Onufri and the requisition of monasteries. The Greek Orthodox publication Vima Orthodoxia received hundreds of protest letters from metropolitans and politicians following the publication of material about the persecution of the Ukrainian Orthodox Church and the revocation of citizenship of Metropolitan Onufri. The resource reports on dramatic events in Ukraine, where Ukrainian authorities revoked the citizenship of Metropolitan Onufri, which is seen as preparation for his deportation. According to analysts, this is the culmination of a strategy aimed at destroying any rival center of ecclesiastical reference opposing Epiphany and the OCU. The publication states that in the past 6 months, dozens of historic monasteries have been requisitioned, monks forcibly expelled, and holy relics moved without community consent. Particularly shocking were the images from the Kiev Pechersk Lavra, where security forces forced monks from their cells. In Greece, despite private expressions of concern from many hierarchs, the Holy Synod has not officially commented on the matter. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs is reportedly exerting pressure, demanding restraint to avoid disrupting the geopolitical balance and Athens' support for Zelensky. Well, there's a problem there. One prominent Greek archbishop told the resource, "We all know that Onufri is being wronged. A hierarch who gave his life for Ukraine cannot be deprived of citizenship. However, geostrategic balances do not allow us to say it openly." You know, when I first read this, I thought this was just really shameful, because the hierarchs are representing they're the leaders of the church, and they need to be speaking out on things that are going on that are wrong, that are persecuting other church hierarchs. And there's no excuse, in my opinion, why they aren't speaking out. I know they're giving their reasons here, but I find that extremely weak. And let's not forget what St. Paisios had said. You know, that the clergy nowadays, he was saying this, speaking of, even that was back in the early 90s or so, probably late 80s, early 90s, or somewhat time around that time. I think it was like the early 90s. But he was saying, you know, that the clergy has become lukewarm, and, you know, basically saying they have no strength, they have no, they're not doing the job they're supposed to be doing. So, among the statements of Greek hierarchs behind the scenes, the Metropolitan of Macedonia spoke at a closed meeting about the identification of orthodoxy with geopolitical imperatives. A hierarch from Crete warned that silence will be written as complicity in history. Yes. Another first-class archbishop noted that the people see the looting and wonder why we don't speak out. Yes. Politicians from almost all parties are expressing concern about the developments. Opposition MPs speak of a blatant violation of human rights, while government officials state that Greece is closely monitoring the situation. The silence of the Church of Greece has created a rift with the faithful. Many clerics on the ground express indignation. A proto-syngelos of a provincial diocese emphasized, If we saw such images in another country, we would talk about persecution. Why do we do what we do not see in Ukraine? So, yes, the UN accused the Ukraine of persecuting the clergy. But, our own church leaders can't do that? Yeah, that is shameful. So, they're saying something now, but they've been quiet. And, well, I guess we should be happy they're saying something now. But, it's like they wait until everybody else is already doing it. Oh, the UN's already saying it. The politicians are saying it. Yeah. Not a good thing. Not a good thing. Let's go to the next one here. This was on the 18th. Now, according to Bondarenko, he says Vance, I don't know who this person is, but he said Vance told Patriarch Bartholomew about UOC persecution. Yeah. When they met with the president, I assume. Konstantin Bondarenko shared details of the meeting between the U.S. Vice President and Patriarch Bartholomew. Political analyst, he's a political analyst, okay. Bondarenko, in a conversation with blogger Alexander Shellist, spoke about the details of the White House meeting between Patriarch Bartholomew and Vice President J.D. Vance. He reminded that Vance is a well-known supporter of religious freedoms, and Patriarch Bartholomew was explicitly told that there is persecution of the Ukrainian Orthodox Church in Ukraine, the analyst said. According to him, the Patriarch in response tried to justify himself by appealing to the Holodomor and Stalinist repressions, which in the current situation looked extremely unconvincing. Also, according to Bondarenko, Patriarch Bartholomew was asked to give an account of his relations with Mike Pompeo, of Mike Pompeo's involvement in the creation of the Orthodox Church of Ukraine and the granting of the Tomos. Besides, a specific sum was named. I see. Yeah. So, wow. That guy, that political analyst certainly has guts to say that right to the Patriarch about Mike Pompeo, because we know the State Department has been involved in this whole thing with Ukraine, the schismatic church. I've reported on that in the past, and more recently, and then now. Oh my goodness! Whoa! And there he is making it. Again. He's not going to do anything about that. It's just really, really disgusting. Okay, so the next story. Okay, so this is from the 23rd of September. Moldovan hierarch, and I've reported on him before. He wasn't even allowed to go to Jerusalem to celebrate Pascha. The authorities wouldn't even let him leave the country. So let's see. He says, Moldovan hierarch appeals to Vice President Vance for protection against state persecution. There's a lot of them trying to talk to Vance because he's the only one that's actually said much about what's going on with the Ukrainian church and the other persecutions. But I really haven't seen much evidence that President Vance, other than what that analyst had said, that he brought it up, I haven't seen too much action from Vance. But then again, there is nobody else in our government doing anything about it. So I guess they feared, well, Vance was showing something, and he did at the Religious Freedom seminar, or whatever it was called, in Washington several months back. He brought that up. So I guess they think, oh, he's the guy we need to talk to. Anyway, His Eminence Archbishop Marshal of Balti and Folesti of the Moldovan Orthodox Church, Moscow Patriarchate, has directly appealed to U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance for intervention against escalating persecution by Moldovan authorities. During an interview with American and British journalists, he made an urgent plea. Dear Vice President of the United States, Mr. Vance, the whole world knows that you advocate for traditional values, the traditional family, and traditional Christian upbringing of the younger generation. In this sense, we are absolutely identical to you. We advocate for the same values, which is precisely why the Orthodox Church is constrained and persecuted. We are promised that PAS, our ruling regime, will win the elections on September 28th, and they will outlaw us. Oh boy. They will exclude an entire religious organization like the Orthodox Church of Moldova from legislation. Wow. And therefore, I wanted to appeal to you with the request. I ask you, dear Vice President, to intervene. Help us defend our traditional church. It is very easy for you, but it is very important for us. The appeal comes days after reports that VP Vance confronted Bartholomew of Constantinople about the persecution of the canonical Ukrainian Orthodox Church, which he has been silent about. Yeah. And then, like I said, there was the travel restrictions and harassment that I just mentioned, that he had that during Holy Week. He was twice prevented from traveling to Jerusalem to retrieve the Holy Fire and later blocked from pilgrimage to Turkey. The hierarch compared current authorities to Stalin, warning of potential provocations. I can't rule out that you'll hear that either in my car or in my house they found either weapons or drugs or some other forbidden things. Wow. Okay, well, in June, authorities banned the Orthodox Church from holding a Pentecost procession while supporting LGBTQ Pride Week. Oh my goodness. President, whatever his name is, has accused Russian Orthodox clergy of spreading propaganda influencing elections, though no specific evidence has been provided. Gee, what a surprise. Belgian MEP Barbara Bonte submitted an inquiry to the European Commission questioning whether Moldova's treatment of religious minorities is compatible with European values. The inquiry cited a Lithuanian human rights report presented to the UN Human Rights Council, documented discriminatory policies conducted by Moldovan authorities against the Orthodox Church of the Republic of Moldova, canonically connected to the Russian Orthodox Church. You see, any church that's canonically connected to the Russian Orthodox Church is getting persecuted. It's just really sad. Really sad. The UN High Commissioner for Human Rights indicated it will investigate the travel restrictions. As Moldova approaches parliamentary elections on September 28th, the ruling Party of Action and Solidarity has intensified rhetoric against the Orthodox Church, claiming clergy interfere in elections through pro-Russian narratives. Oh my gosh. This is just really outrageous. These churches are brothers and sisters. They're sister churches. They go together. And you're inserting politics and worldly infighting and geopolitical crap into what is the church, which is the body of Christ, and is considered not of this world. We're in the world, but we're not of it. Oh my gosh, it's disgusting. Okay, and so the next thing is, this was on the 25th, and this was in New York, September 25th. Greek media, Patriarch Bartholomew's glory to Ukraine sparks controversy in Greece. He just never stops. Oh my gosh. Strong reactions have erupted across Greece following a public appearance by Patriarch Bartholomew of Constantinople, who raised his patriarchal staff and said, "Glory to Ukraine," to President Vladimir Zelensky, a slogan that many associate with Nazi collaborators and war crimes during World War II. Wow. The incident has caused shock as the Patriarch, rather than addressing the persecution of Orthodox Christians in the Middle East or speaking about the persecution of the canonical Ukrainian Orthodox Church and its clergy, chose instead to highlight Crimean Tatars, historical enemies of Hellenism and allies of the Zelensky regime, reports the Greek Orthodox outlet Romfia. So, it's interesting. The Greek Orthodox Church is going against their own patriarchate of Constantinople. I find this encouraging, actually. Somebody needs to speak out against this. In a video posted by President Zelensky on X, Patriarch Bartholomew can be seen raising his staff with a triumphant expression with Archbishop, I don't know how to pronounce his name really well, so I just say L, of America smiles behind him. The scene, which many felt resembled a political rally more than a patriarchal greeting, provoked a storm of reactions. Oh my gosh. Disgraceful. Several commentators noted that the Patriarch's role is not to function as a propagandist or reproduce divisive slogans, but to provide spiritual guidance to the Orthodox world. Yes, bingo, exactly. Exactly. The meeting took place on Monday as world leaders gathered in New York for the United Nations General Assembly. The controversy comes amid growing concerns within the Greek Orthodox Church about the persecution of the canonical Ukrainian Orthodox Church. According to a recent report from Greek Orthodox publication, yes, I've already talked about that, the Patriarch's turn toward supporting the Zelensky regime is silence regarding the persecution of the canonical Orthodox Church Christians in Ukraine, and its approach to groups hostile to Hellenism are creating increasing alienation between the Patriarch and its own flock. Exactly. The Fanar's turn in favor of the Zelensky regime, the silence toward the persecutions of canonical Orthodox in Ukraine, and the approach with groups hostile to Hellenism are creating an ever-growing alienation between the Patriarch and his own flocks. That's reiterated there. Wow, that is really disgraceful. Really disgraceful. So here we have another one. September 26, Montenegro. Serbian monastery diocese administration under 24/7 police surveillance. So now we're into Serbia. The monastery of the Pillars of St. John near Bahrain, Montenegro, has been under continuous police surveillance for 7 days, with security forces stationed around the 13th century monastery day and night, according to a statement from the Serbian Orthodox Diocese, if I can't pronounce this. The monastery, which serves as the diocesan seat, has been surrounded by various police formations and official vehicles positioned at all approaches to the holy site, creating what the diocese describes as an atmosphere of siege that has caused distress among the monastery's inhabitants and faithful. Such scenes of police encirclement of churches have been seen in recent years only at the height of the persecution of the church during Djukanovic's totalitarian regime. The diocesan statement reads, referring to Montenegro's former long-serving president. According to reports from Serbian newspaper Politika, both uniformed and plain-clothes police have maintained round-the-clock monitoring of the monastery. Interior Minister Danilo Saranovic has directed significant police resources to the Pillars of St. George, with security forces deployed as if criminal activities ran then divine services were taking place within the monastery walls. The basic state prosecutor's office in Bahrain has reportedly issued another summons for His Eminence Metropolitan Metodiji of something or other to appear for questioning, which he has not answered. Father Milenko Ralovic, a parish priest from Bahrain, has also received a new summons and faces the possibility of forced detention if he fails to comply. The diocese views these legal actions combined with the police presence as an attempt at criminalization and social isolation of the church through the use of the repressive apparatus, particularly given the intense public persecution and anti-church media campaign to which the diocese has been subjected to in recent months. This escalation follows tensions from August when Metropolitan Metodiji blessed a controversial World War II monument, leading to his second police interrogation within a month and the detention of clergy members. The diocese has maintained that the Metropolitan has been targeted by authorities since December 2019, when as Bishop of Dioclea, he participated in protests against the law by which the state sought to seize Serbian church property. The diocese of these two places expresses its deepest concern about the openly violent attitude of the current regime toward the Serbian people in Montenegro. May God grant that peace in the rule of non-selective justice and law prevail in Montenegro as soon as possible. The police siege has drawn condemnation from observers who see it as part of a broader pattern of pressure against the Serbian Orthodox Church in Montenegro, transforming a place of prayer and spiritual gathering into what they describe as a demonstration of state power against religious institutions. So, again, more persecution against these churches, different places. And lastly, this outrageous and disgusting, disgraceful act here. In Lviv, OCU, that's the schismatic church, cleric holds a quote-unquote liturgy wearing St. John of Kronstadt's mitre. I've never heard of such horribly disrespectful actions. Cyprian Lozinski explained that the 19th century mitre was brought to him only for one service on his birthday, calling it a museum exhibit rather than a sacred object. And then people say that some people are saying that the OCU is a legitimate Orthodox church. Really? Have you ever seen this kind of behavior and talk from somebody who is a legitimate clergy within a church? No, I would say not. On September 28, 2025, the superior of the OCU St. John Chrysostom Monastery in Lviv, quote-unquote archimandrite, Cyprian Lozinski, conducted a service wearing the mitre of St. John of Kronstadt of the Russian Orthodox Church. Photos from the liturgy were posted by this person on his Facebook page. In comments, he explained that the mitre had belonged to the saint of the Russian Orthodox Church and has been brought specially for his birthday. It was given to me only for today's liturgy on the occasion of my birthday. Afterwards, it will return to its current owner. You don't do that with saints' relics and things that belong to holy saints. This just makes me very angry, and it's disgusting. Later, the archimandrite remarked that he regarded the 19th century mitre more as a museum exhibit than as a holy relic. Well, that's your problem. That's why you are not a true bishop. You are a schismatic. This is why you are not part of this church. Sorry, but that's just the way I see it. Of course, I will not regularly serve in his mitre, but as a one-time occasion in the context of church history, using it as a museum exhibit connected with a righteous man, it can be used. Really? Disgusting. John of Kronstadt was canonized by the Russian Orthodox Church in 1990. His memory is commemorated on January 2nd. In his lifetime, he became renowned as the preacher and author of spiritual works that are still valued throughout the world, the Orthodox world today, yes. His Life is Mine, or was it called His Life is Mine? No, that was, I think that was Sophrony. But I do have one of St. John of Kronstadt's sayings books. Now I can't remember what it's called, which is ridiculous. Anyway, this whole I don't even have any more words for this. It's just so disrespectful towards the saints. And again, if one is part of the church, they understand the veneration of the saints and how important they are to our church, and that they should be respected. That's all I have for the stories for you. But as you can see, there's persecution in his church worldwide. Montenegro, to the Serbian Orthodox Church, the Ukrainian Orthodox Church, the Estonian Orthodox Church. They're still battling that, the church there and the women's monastery. That hasn't gone away. They want to ban the Estonian Orthodox Church. That's another one, but I haven't gotten into that recently, but I have in the past. It's all the ones that are basically connected to, in some way, connected to the Moscow, the Russian Orthodox Patriarchate. Except Serbia, I think, has its own. The point is, it is just really frustrating and infuriating. So, I guess I'll just be upping my prayers for all these churches. I hope this was informative to you and that you got something out of it. Please pray for my churches if you don't mind. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for following my channel. It is really late here, time for me to go to sleep, but this will be out tomorrow, October 1st, or today, October 1st, later in the day. I hope you have a great night and a blessed night. Until next time.